So if you're a receiver or a defensive back, corner routes are usually very important plays. Whether it's one-on-one, man coverage, you versus him, it's in the red zone, or your team just needs a big play. They're gonna throw it up, so use these tips to win your reps so you could be a difference maker. What's up everybody? I'm joined by my main man, Matt McDonald here, former Queens receiver, now coach. He's gonna take us through how to run corner routes. I'm gonna give a few tips as a defensive back, how to defend it. So we got something for everyone today.
So the corner route, most complex route there is, and there's a lot of stuff to it, whether it be the way you stem, the way you break, the way you pump your arms. So we're gonna break it down here from a fundamental standpoint. Let's start from the top. A lot of coaches lack this, so when we're doing our waggle, right, we gotta make it look consistent. Some players, they're giving away whether it's a pass or a run based on your waggle. So when we have a corner route, it's gotta look the same as if we're running the ball. So usually we go on the quarterback's arms and we're 12 yards back so we can hit the line of scrimmage at full speed.
For those who don't know what he's talking about, in Canadian football, the receivers have a run up to the line. So we'll touch on that, and also if you don't have one, then this part isn't that important.
So when running a corner route, there's going to be two different looks. Your defender could be playing inside of you. In that case, we want to attack him, step on toes. Right? We want to get close to him, attack him, so we have a two-way go. And then he also might be outside of you. In this case, we want to take it outside release, get on top of him, and stack him.
So as a defensive back, if he's taking a big inside release, what I want to do is just stay calm, stay in my weave. So I'm either going to angle pedal as he weaves at me, keeping my shade, or back. Depending on how you want to play it, what kind of coverage you're in, you could get your shuffles in. So he weaves, I'm just going to stay square. And then at the point when he's closed the cushion, just open up, get hands on. And for an outside shade, it's the same thing. So I'm outside, he starts to stem me. I want to keep my shade, force him to open up this way inside of me. If he opens up outside, underneath, then I'm just on top. It should be outside shade the whole time. So the big key, receivers are going to do a good job stemming you, trying to make you commit one side, break off the other way, but we just have to stay on our leverage. Remember, whichever leverage we start on, we want to keep it throughout the route, because then whenever he breaks to that side, all those routes we're all over and just reacting to the other side. So big inside stem, we're just gonna have our eyes on this hip. Stay square, and then when he breaks off, we're gonna go two. Same thing with the outside shade, but it should be easier because we're already there.
When we're at the top of a route, a lot of young guys, what they'll do is they'll do too many steps, it'll slow them down and mess the timing up with the quarterback. So when we're all at the top of our route, all we need is this. Boom, boom. And that should go when you plant your inside foot. So it's step, boom.
Hey, as a DB, I'm here. Now if I have poor technique, if I'm not doing it proper, lots of times guys, their eyes will come up here. So if I get that head fake, I'm gonna think he's running this way and really overcommit. That's why we want to keep our eyes here. So even if he does a head fake, even if he does one step, we're able to react quickly and just stay all over the route.
Now we've done our waggle, we've done our stemming. Now it's time for that head stick, all right? So it looks like this. Whoa. So after we break off our route, it is important that we take 3 steps before we look up for the ball. This is to maintain our speed and let the quarterback know what track we are on. A lot of people, when they look too early as well, they'll start fading like this. They're not on a straight line. Another good reason why we take 3 steps is to maintain our speed. Some people think, oh, I'm braking at a degree, I have to slow down. No, it's actually the opposite. We want to speed up. We want to put our foot in the ground, and at the top of the route, we kill the ant.
And another thing, as a defensive back, the receivers, they're gonna break and sprint out of there as fast as they can. So even if we're all over the first part, even if we're in perfect coverage, if we don't sprint out fast enough, they're gonna get open and they're gonna catch the ball. Which obviously is what we don't want. So as they're taking their 3 hard steps before they're looking back, whenever we come out of our break, we have to drive, make sure we're keeping our eyes on their hip. Just do a quick little route here. Driving out, sprinting with them. Because if not, if we look back too early, if they end up doing a double move and our eyes are too high, then we're not going to be in a good position. So we have to keep our eyes on the hip, and you can be physical with him, pretending we're running the corner this way and I'm underneath. You be all over it before you look back for the ball, because lots of times with corners, the QB is going to throw it either below or on top based off where we are. So we have to stay really close to the receiver, make his job tough. And the main point is sprint out of the break, make sure that we're not letting him get any separation. Holy shit.
So when the DB is running with us, right, there's 4 referees in a high school game. They're not going to see everything. So he's probably going to be grabbing your jersey up top, up low. So when he's low, we flipper it, and then high, wipe it off.
And that can apply to jersey grabs or, face me, if we're just going with the stab. So if I'm up here, you can expect the receiver's gonna hit. If I end up getting a lower stab, lots of times it's just gonna hit you with the arm over.
It's important that after we break to the corner, we look up for the ball rather than turn our whole hips. All right? So that would look like this.
And a note for the defensive backs here, as we're running with the receiver, we don't want to look horizontally for the ball, otherwise it's going to come over our head. So we want to run and snap our eyes up, see the path the ball is coming on, and then if it's not there, we can always look down and find it. Lots of times you see DBs snap their eyes back, and that's right when the ball's coming over their head, and you just can't locate it like that.
So the quarterback's not always going to throw a perfect ball. So when it's overthrown, what we can do is we can break it off, we locate the ball, and then we see it's overthrown, so we actually take our eye off the ball, 3 more hard steps, and then retrack it. With that being said, the quarterback could also throw it 2 inside. You break it to the corner, it's over here, right? We do the Tyreek, where we flip it. Ooh. Ooh. And when we flick it, it's just like a dig route almost, right? We look, flick our elbow through, and our eye's only off the ball for a split second.
And that's why it's important for us. This is where it gets really tricky. You could have a great pedal, great stab, be right with him the whole route, sprint right in his hip. But if you lose where the receiver is and you look back and then he adjusts to the inside, he catches the ball. There's no one there stopping him from going and scoring. So that's why if we're running with him, we open up. We want to make sure when we turn, we have a hand or something so we know where he is. So if he breaks off, we feel it and we can adjust back, go punch, make a play on the ball. Worst case scenario, just get the tackle in. But just tip for all the defensive backs, whenever you turn, make sure you don't lose where the receiver is. In case it's a double move, in case it's a bad ball, we just always have to know where he is. So sometimes if we're in zone coverage or the DB's really high and offside, then the offense could have an adjustment here. And that is what we call
A bite, right? So whenever we see a corner bail in a deep third, it's important that we take 3 steps before we look, because it's also important to see coverage. So in those 3 steps, we see the corner right in front of us, we bite it up. And it's almost like a hook, right? Like a corner hook almost. So.
And what helps as defensive backs here is if we're in that deep zone, if we're in man coverage, but we just happen to be really far off, if he bites it down, we always have to be ready to break. We're reading his hips, and the good thing about this route is you're always going to be in a position where you can read the quarterback through the receiver, so you can see it all in the same picture here. The main point is we don't want to cover grass. So even if you know he's running a corner, you don't want to be 20 yards off in case he keeps it skinny, in case he bites it down. Just always be in a position where you can make a play.
So it's important for our corner routes to catch with high hands, right? So it's pump, 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 snap, high hands. And this is because our neck doesn't have to move. It's always chin to the ball, chin to the ball. When we catch with high hands, it's boom, all the way. You see it, you look it in. When you catch down here, it's...
I'll give it a little toss. So you can just see if you're running full speed, it's a lot harder to keep your eyes on the ball to here compared to out in front of you. And another point, which you could talk about, is if the DB is really close, what you have to do.
When the DB is close, right, we're flippering, we're pumping our arms, and then high point the ball. Right? Catch the ball at the highest point. Self-explanatory, but a lot of people fail to do it, and that's the reason why the DB breaks up the pass.
Exactly. As defensive backs, we're taught to always high point, so I'm going to run, jump, and lots of times you see receivers only practice catching the ball over the shoulder, or if they're doing routes on air, comfortable catches. But when the defensive back's right there, or if it's a really high ball, you got to do it too. But just jump up, high point the ball, catch it at its highest point, because otherwise, wherever it is, I'm just gonna high point it compared to me being here, and then he catches it over my head.
Last thing about high points, once we do high point it, it's important we rip away from the defender, right? Because if we just hold the ball, looks pretty, but it's so easy to get punched out.
Well, there you have it. Big thanks to my main man, Matty Ice here, helping teach us how to run a corner route, how to defend it. So appreciate the help. A lot more to come soon from Pick Six Athletics.
Last video, I saw lots of people in the comments. We both will be responding to them. Like, comment, subscribe, Pick Six Athletics.
Yeah.